everyone and welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us again. This will be the second video in our budgeting series, and thank you to everyone who watched the first one. It got a really good response, was very pleased with that, and thank you for all the lovely comments and for sharing all of the ideas that you have around food and budgeting. Really interesting and very helpful as well, so thank you. What I thought I would do today, because we had a lot of new people join in, or at least people that I haven't sort of seen in the comments before and interacted with, I thought I would just step back a bit and give you an idea of who are we and why are we talking about budgeting, and why do we think that we have anything to say on it. Well, firstly, I think it's because we've made the leap into moving into a different country. We don't have a big budget, and we have lots of personal reasons why we have done the things that we've done and the way and order in which we've done them. And if that information can help anyone to do something similar, you know, if you've got a real desire to go and step out of the norm, step away from your normal 9 to 5, whatever it is, then this might just give you some help, some ideas, some thoughts. There's nothing earth-shattering and there's nothing groundbreaking in what I'm going to say, but I just thought I would start with who we are. So introducing ourselves. So I'm Elaine and my husband is Darren. He's currently clearing out the emptying out the spare room behind us to get it tidied. We are from the UK originally, now living in Portugal. We're both 57. We've both more or less retired early, and we have done the whole working all your life thing. We have family back in the UK still, but for a very long time we have wanted something different. We were fed up with working just to pay the bills. We were fed up with being expected to upgrade your car, buy a bigger house, buy a new washing machine, all of the kinds of things that come with modern day life, and we just thought enough is enough. So yeah, we thought we want something different, and if that means having a lot less to live a lot more, then we are perfectly happy to do that. And that's exactly what we've done with our move here to Central Portugal. So for many years before we even thought about Portugal, we looked in the UK to buy a piece of land just so that we could do something more on our terms, more simply. So, but even way back when our children were small, so 20-30 years ago, we just couldn't afford anything in the UK, and so we sort of put those dreams on hold and did other things. As we got into our 50s and we were working and felt like it was just a constant trip over, you know, Monday to Friday. For me, I was self-employed, had my own coffee shop, so it was 6 days a week in the coffee shop. Sunday was going to the wholesalers and making sure that I had everything ready for the next day, and another week began, and that was that. You know, there was never any time. So you get to a point where you say, okay, enough is enough. And what actually happened was I was getting to a point where I was physically and mentally exhausted with doing that, and Darren could see that even though I couldn't. And when he was out with a walk, you know, taking Max for a walk, he often talks to Max to think things through in his head, And then he came back from his walk one night and he said, look, we have 5 years left on our mortgage. The price of the house that we get in 5 years' time is not going to increase anywhere near the amount of effort and money we have to put in to pay that 5 years of the mortgage off. Why don't we cut our ties now, sell this house, get something much smaller, pay off any debts that we have, and you can sell your business and we'll just do what we've always wanted to do, and then now we can move to Portugal. So that's exactly what we did. So we lived in the northeast of England. It's not a place where you have exorbitantly high values in your house, but it did enable us to clear off all of our debt, to stop paying that mortgage for 5 years. So as I said, we're both 57 now when we've arrived in Portugal. We didn't want to wait another 5 years until we physically couldn't do any work when we got here, or enjoy the time, you know, because we were then 5 years older. So yeah, that's what we did. So I sold my coffee shop and we sold our big house. We bought a small house just with enough space for us and our youngest child, and then we didn't have to work. We didn't have to have all of the regular income to pay the massive mortgage that we had on our family home. What it did mean in leaving sort of salaries and wages and everything was that we had very little savings when we decided to move to Portugal. So we just made that as a choice. As long as we have our regular income, so I have a pension from British Telecom where I had worked before I was self-employed, plus a small amount of rental that comes from the small house that we bought, which is from our kids, then that's what we have to live on. And we made the decision to have less but to live so much more, and that's exactly what we've done. I know we're in a very privileged position that when we came to Portugal we already had this tiny house that I'm sitting in, and we bought it at a time when the prices were very low, but it does need work doing on it. It's like a small 1 bedroom, 1 kitchen, 1 living room, doesn't have a bathroom, there's no running water, but we know that over time we can get those things sorted out, and that's the decision that we made. So we don't have a big bank balance and something just to dip in all of the time to get stuff done. And we were delayed by COVID, but less said about that, the better. I think that sort of consolidated our plans to say, yeah, don't wait for the next catastrophe, don't wait for anything else to put off what we want to do. We just went and did it. So we're going to do it as we go, and we've talked about our garden house. We're going to do that exactly the same, and all of that comes down to budgeting our income that we have and knowing exactly where our money goes. So it's great that we already have this little house, so there's no rent or mortgage to pay. We do watch what we spend with regard to putting fuel into the car. We do watch what we spend with regard to eating out. It's a treat to us, so we do like to have a coffee out, but here in Portugal it's 75 cents for a coffee, and in the UK I think the last time we went out for a coffee it was probably £3 for a coffee. We do have a very small contingency fund for things like getting a car fixed so that we're not stranded, if we had to dash home if there was some kind of emergency, those sort of things. But other than that, there's not really anything else. And we've been here for almost 6 months now, and it's working out. It's fine. It absolutely is. We have spent out on gas for heating and cooking, but other than that, we didn't have any other bills. We get water from the fountain from the village, and we are living on solar. So yes, that was a struggle when there was lots and lots of rain, and our friends in the village helped us out several times to top up our EcoFlow. But other than that, we've done, I would say, quite well. So to stop myself from waffling on anymore, all I'm going to say is, if you're considering doing something like this, once you've got your budget for wherever you're going to live, then just go for it. If it's what you really want to do, you will make it happen. And a simpler life is much more simple. So give it a go. What I hope to do in these future videos is two things. Give you more ideas about how we manage, stretch, sometimes break our budget, and also I want to do a separate looking at the build of the little garden house, so that I can try my hardest to capture every euro and every cent that we spend on getting that place built, to give you an idea of what is possible here in Central Portugal. And hopefully it'll turn out as good as all of the images that I have in my head. And then that means we'll have a bit more space, so we can then start working on this tiny house. Long projects. But that's me. Stop waffling. I did say I would share the recipe for the oat milk I mentioned in last week's video, so here it is for you. Hi everyone. After our first video about how we live on our budget, I did mention inadvertently that I often make oat milk. I make it for Darren because he likes milk in his coffee, but I have mine black. So it's a very, very simple recipe. I know there's loads of recipes out there that people use, loads of recipes on the internet, but mine is very, very simple, and it's used as and when either it runs out of milk or I choose not to buy it because we spent too much money on other things. So this is what we use, and it lasts for a couple of days for him. So what I've got is half a cup of rolled oats, about 500 mils of water, 1 teaspoon of just normal sugar. Some people use dates, some people use honey, but this has the least amount of effect on the flavour, and as I said, it's a very simple recipe. A pinch of salt, my strainer to strain the oats out, my blender to blend it up, and a clean container to put it in. So simple as anything. Oats in, nearly all of them. Pinch of salt. Oh, didn't actually get any there. There we go. Teaspoon of sugar. And a teaspoon of sugar in 500 mils is actually, because this is what he usually gets when we do our shopping at Lidl, and there's usually more than 30 grams of sugar in one of these. No, in the equivalent. There's 30 grams of sugar in the equivalent of 500 mils. So in that 1 litre pack, that'll be over 60 grams of sugar. And I've just put 1 teaspoon's about 5 grams of sugar. Put our water in. It won't all fit in there. And I want to whiz it up. Give it a whiz. Then I normally would let it sit for a little while, then give it another whiz. And then when it's done, just strain it back into the rest of the water. Max is very interested because he thinks there's food on the go. Leave it to strain. And then I do keep, as you've seen in my oat and apple pancake recipe, that I keep the leftover whizzed up oats and put them into pancakes or cakes, flapjacks, whatever. And then put it in the bottle, and that's it. It does separate out, and it separates out quite quickly, but you just have to shake it before you pour it into your coffee, and that's it. Simple as anything. And as you know, we don't actually have a fridge, but then just making this amount only lasts for 2 days anyway, and it's freezing in here, so it's chilly, I should say. When I say it's freezing, it's not actually freezing, it's just an expression. It's chilly. There you go. Simple as that. Doesn't take long. Probably takes longer to get everything out and wash up as it does to make the milk. As I say, I would normally leave that to soak a little bit longer, but just so you can see it from start to finish, I've done the whole thing. And there you go, done. There you go, ready to go. Just needs a shake before you use it. There you go then, very simple oat milk recipe. There's probably lots of different ones and lots of better ones, as I've said, that other people use. But in all honesty, it's only for Darren. I don't drink it. Well, I'm going to draw this to a close. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any other questions for us, then please feel free to put them in the comments below. I do read absolutely all of them. I attempt to answer all of your comments as well. So yeah, if this is something that you think you want to do, then do it. You will find a way to do it, and you don't have to wait until you get your pension. You don't have to wait until, you know, life gets too far down the line. Life is for living, so just do it.